God not only said to watch for these signs, but he told us that he would reveal what is coming through his prophets. Now listen to this. We have multiple prophets that are saying that 2016, it's not going to be life as usual in America.
Hi folks, this is ETprepper. This clip here is from a religious organization, one of their videos. I don't care if you're religious or not. Look at the facts presented here, and then I've got another couple of clips. And just look at the facts. And the whole thing here is to encourage you to get ready now, because I'm in total agreement with this guy. The time is now. We don't have many months. 2016 is going to turn us on our heads. And if you don't believe this, put on your ostrich hat, stick your head in the sand, and wait for it to get chopped off. I'm not kidding. Times are serious. Let's get moving.
Everything is going to be turned upside down. Well, if God is telling his prophets that certain events are not going to happen, that life is going to go to a state of martial law and all of these things, then the question I have is that if God said, watch for these signs that ye be not caught unaware,
yes,
and the words of the prophets, if we go through this next year and nothing happens, why did God tell us to watch? And it would literally mean that God is teasing us through his prophets, and God doesn't do that.
What would the blood moons mean then? Are the blood moons signs? I mean, they're pretty big.
Well, some people say it's God's billboard.
Yeah, and he turns the moon red, and he gives us warnings. He said, I'm going to give the signs. The moon will be turned to, and it's color red. The color of blood, it says in the Bible, if you study it. And so right now, we have this is perhaps the last time we're going to have a tetrad, right?
Folks, this is John Shorey, and he is staking his reputation on what he's about to say. Pay attention.
All in that things are coming down this fall. In fact, I said, I am so convinced that I am willing to put my head on the chopping block and pronounce what I see coming, because I do not want to be guilty of not giving the warning that things are coming down. Well, you know what I told Jim? I said, Jim, this is the last time in over 400 years that we're going to have a tetrad of 4 blood moons on Jewish holy days. It'll be 400 years before this happens again. It'll be 50 years before we have another year of Jubilee that we're entering into in 2016. This is going to be the last time for 7 years where we're having the Shemitah cycle. And it's like, this is not just the Shemitah cycle, this is the 7th Shemitah cycle, which is significant. This is the most perfect timing.
Listen close to what he's saying right now and think about it.
For leadership in our government to sell America out, and to lead us into the Great Tribulation. That might never happen again. Everything is converging now.
The president of Turkey and the prime minister of Turkey just made this declaration to the entire Islamic world. We will gather together Kurds and Arabs and all of the Muslim world and invade Jerusalem and create a one world Islamic empire. That's a headline. If that isn't last day rhetoric, I don't know what last day rhetoric is. One world. And here they are saying, you know, it used to be if somebody gave an intention of going to destroy somebody, that was an act of a declaration of war. That's right. But our country just keeps ignoring all these threats. Did you notice that? And we say, oh, these are friendly people. How can they be friendly people when they said that we will invade Jerusalem? We are there, folks. Well, doesn't that make you realize that maybe your timing that God has given you in this book, 2012 to 2012, that maybe your timing is closer to being right on than you've ever thought?
We're not even into the middle of my window until 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And if people can't see that we're there, that we're in the window, then they've got blinders on.
So they need to get prepared now.
Absolutely.
Again, it has nothing to do with the islands. It has nothing to do with Ukraine. It has everything to do with who controls the banking system. China and Russia are building an alternative system.
National security correspondent Jim Sciutto. He's in Manila right now in the Philippines. He has an exclusive report on that confrontation between the Chinese military and a U.S. spy plane. Jim, tell our viewers what happened.
Wolf, it comes down to fundamental, potentially dangerous disagreement. Though these islands are brand new, manufactured, in fact, China views them as sovereign territory. The U.S. views them as international waters, international airspace, and it demonstrates that, as it did today, by flying over them, sailing nearby them. Chinese protests getting louder, U.S. moves getting bolder. The tension there escalated.
Foreign military aircraft. This is Chinese Navy. You are approaching our military alert zone. Leave immediately.
High above the South China Sea, the radio crackles with a stern warning.
Go, go!
The source of dispute appears on the horizon seemingly out of nowhere. Islands, man-made by China, hundreds of miles from its coastline. By the state-of-the-art P-8A Poseidon, America's most advanced surveillance and sub-hunting aircraft. China's alarming creation of entirely new territory in the South China Sea is one part of a broader military push that some fear is to challenge U.S. dominance in the region. Sailing its first aircraft carrier, equipping its nuclear missiles with multiple warheads, developing missiles to destroy U.S. aircraft carriers, and now building military bases far from its shores. For the U.S., the islands are a step too far, and this flight is part of a new and bold American military response that may soon include sailing U.S. warships close by as well. In just 2 years, China has expanded these islands by 2,000 acres, the equivalent of 1,500 football fields and counting, an engineering marvel in waters as deep as 300 feet.
Future military installation?
It appears to be a buildup of military infrastructure, and not to mention we were just challenged probably 30 minutes ago.
What used to be the Fiery Cross Reef now has early warning radar, an airport tower, and a runway long enough to handle every aircraft in the Chinese military. Some are calling it China's unsinkable aircraft carrier. These videos of the islands, taken from the P-8's advanced surveillance cameras, never before declassified. In a sign of just how valuable China views them, the new islands are already well protected.
There's obviously a lot of surface traffic down there, Chinese warships and Chinese Coast Guard ships.
We heard the proof. The Chinese Navy ordering the P-8 out of the airspace not once, not twice, but 8 times on this mission.
This is the Chinese Navy. This is the Chinese Navy. Please go away quickly.
And like the surveillance videos, the audio of these warnings never before shared with the public. And the more China builds, we're told, the more frequently and aggressively it warns away U.S. aircraft.
This is a dredger actually pumping sand from under the water on top of an area they're trying to build up land. And we see this every day. So I think they work weekends when they're doing this.
24/7. Looking at these islands, you see the landing strips, you see military barracks, you see roads being built, trucks driving on those roads, and squadrons of dredgers and cargo ships adding to them every day. I have to say, Wolf, as you see them, they look like very permanent installations. It's difficult to see how, even with increased U.S. military traffic in the area, how China backs down.
Jim, why the increased concern about all of this right now? Because I know there is intense concern at the highest levels of the United States government.
It's two things, Wolf. One, it is pace. Over the span of just 2 years, China has expanded the area of these islands from 5 acres to 2,000 acres, 400 times, and it's rising every day. We saw that today, but it is also this. It is the militarization of them, putting in landing craft that can carry the largest military aircraft in the Chinese arsenal, the early warning radar systems, deep water harbors that can accommodate Chinese Navy ships. It is that militarization that has the U.S. now considering a bolder military response.
A new, blatant, and aggressive threat from Kim Jong-un. His forces will open fire on any South Korean ships moving into what he sees as North Korean waters. Tonight, South Korea, a U.S. ally, is angrily vowing retaliation.
Since we banned prayer, we banned Bible reading, we have not won one war. We haven't won any wars.
No.
We didn't win Vietnam. As far as I'm concerned, I know the story of Vietnam.
And now we're provoking Russia and China. We're sending warships to the Spartly Islands to challenge China's building of airstrips in the Spartly Islands. The Spartly Islands are a chain of islands in the South China Sea. Various countries claim various islands. China's claiming all of them. Okay? They're just saying, we don't care, you know, Philippines, Taiwan, they're all ours. Well, China is building fake islands on reefs.
Yes. I've been reading about that.
They're hauling in massive amounts of sand, and they're building landing strips.
Why?
For jet fighters.
Do you people know this? Do you know this at all? Have you heard this? China is building islands
in the sea.
In the sea. How many do you know?
Well, I know of two that they're building 10,000 foot long runways.
And they're building them on reefs. What would be considered public land, or not public, what would you call it? It's not their land.
Right.
If you want.
They're just little reefs out in the ocean. And they're just saying that's ours.
They're claiming it.
They're claiming it.
Some say they don't have a right to do that.
Right, they're bringing in the ships.
When you're that big, I guess you got a right.
They're bringing in ships of sand. They're building fake islands, putting in military base, landing strips. And last week, the United States said, we're going to send warships to challenge China. Again, it has nothing to do with the islands. It has nothing to do with Ukraine. It has everything to do with who controls the banking system. China and Russia are building an alternative system of finance to challenge London and New York.
What does the islands have to do with that?
We're picking a fight there. It's all about starting a war to maintain control. Listen, Saddam Hussein was bragging about starting a Middle Eastern gold dinar. Then Colonel Gaddafi was bragging that he was going to start a gold currency for the Middle East. And he also told the United States and the West he didn't want any more paper money for his oil. He wanted gold. Where is Colonel Gaddafi? And where is his 144 tons of gold that was in his central bank? Where is it? It's been stolen, Jim. You know why it's stolen? Because Germany has asked for their gold back from the U.S. Federal Reserve. And the U.S. Federal Reserve doesn't have that gold. And so they're going around, they're starting wars to steal gold. This whole thing is coming apart because it's built on lies and thievery. It's false weights and measures. And God says this is an abomination. And I can't let this go on. And these guys are saying, we're desperate. We're losing power. We're losing control. And Russia and China are saying, yes, you are. We're going to challenge you. And I'm telling you, World War III is on the horizon. And if God does not intervene to stop this, we're going to see a war that's probably going to result in 1 billion casualties.